Hey guys, I'm just Joshin, and welcome back to Pokemon March Madness, aka March Madness, aka March Madness, aka... What the heck? Why is this coming out on a Tuesday? These usually only come out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Did you mess up, Josh? No. Although I can understand why you think that I would. I have typically done that in the past. It's not uncommon for me to do so. No, I did not mess up. The world messed up. The world messed up by not giving me enough days in the month of March. I know you get 31 days, which is today, by the way, instead of the normal 30 for some of the other months. I could use a 32nd. Why is that? Well, tomorrow officially ends the month of March. If I would have been smarter, quicker, a little bit faster on the draw, come up with this idea like a couple days prior, we could have gotten all 8 generations of Pokemon March Madness done in the month of March, which makes sense because it's called Pokemon March Madness. So, unfortunately, had to do a little squeezing. I hope you'll forgive me. I had to do a little bit, we had to move some things around to try to get this done. But it's the last day of March, and it's also, very fittingly, the last Pokemon March Madness video, probably. It's probably the last Pokemon March Madness video. A, because March is ending, and B, because we have reached the final region. That is right, Generation 8, the Galar region, the newest additions to Pokemon, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Came out a couple months ago. You guys know, if you were there, I had a really good time playing them. An extremely good time playing them. First console, main series Pokemon game, and I had an absolute blast with it. Now, I know that this generation is steeped in a lot of controversy. National Dex this, and paid DLC that, and we won't be getting into any of that today. I hate to tell you, because instead what we will be doing, as we've done in every single video, if you don't know what Pokemon March Madness is, there's a playlist for it. You can go watch it now. It's fantastic. Go back and start at the Kanto region. Go through generation at a time like we did. What we do, though, if you are new here and you don't want to go do that, is we attempt to replace normal March Madness, which of course was canceled due to COVID-19. And I'm attempting to do my bestest and forget the restest. I'm trying to replace that whole void of entertainment inside many people's bodies with something that I know better, which is Pokemon. I know nothing about basketball. I know some things about Pokemon, and that's good. Why am I shiny today? Am I that Squovet I found on Route 2 in Pokemon Sword? Because my goodness, I am shiny today. Hey-o! You know, if I was good at editing or cared at all, I would put a clip in here and then tell you to go watch it, but I won't do that. Anyway, that's the longest it's ever taken me to raise my chair, remember that. We're gonna go down the left side. We're gonna go down the right side. Closer and closer to the middle, doing 1v1 matchups. Telling you my favorite of the 2 Pokemon, moving down, moving down, moving down. Left side, right side, until we finally get to the middle here. And I'm not gonna talk about the National Dex not being in the game. I'm not gonna talk about paid DLC for the game. The only thing I will be talking about is who is the best Gen 8 Pokemon, in my personal opinion. Of course, these are all opinions. You will have your own as well, and that's totally fine, because I'm leaving a link to this bracket fights. I'm leaving a link to this bracket in the description below so you can complete it yourself, and then you can save it and you can send it to me via Twitter, email if you really want to, but who the heck uses email anymore? You can join our community Discord. All links, of course, to all of those except email. If you want to go find my email, congratulations. But the links to the Discord and Twitter will be in the description below. I like this generation quite a bit. I have no shame in saying that. Oh, there is one thing I said I wasn't going to mention paid DLC. It is possible that this bracket is incomplete. What I mean by that is these are only Gen 8 Pokemon that we have seen thus far. I also just realized that I greatly apologize for this. I just realized I changed the size of my display capture, and the right side's a little cut off. Let me fix that for you. There you go. That look a little bit better? Yes, it does. A little editing on the fly. That's professionalism. Actually, the exact opposite. Okay, there's DLC coming out for Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's coming out this... I think one's coming out in the spring and one's coming out in the fall. Very cool. Will there be more after that? I have no idea. But there are certainly going to be new Pokemon announced in I mean, they've already announced new Pokemon. There's new there's new mythical Pokemon, new legendaries, maybe new Galarian forms of the 3 legendary birds. I have no idea. There's some weird stuff in them. My boy Not So Livid made this list for me, by the way. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And it only includes, I asked him, he was going through it and he was like, what do you want me to include in this? And I said, please, 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 let's stick purely to Pokemon that I would have seen so far. So in other words, this bracket only includes Pokemon that were in the base Pokemon Sword and Shield game, plus Galarian Slowpoke. Because Galarian Slowpoke technically is obtainable now, you can use him. I only wanted to see Pokemon that I actually could have captured and used on my team, and that's why this is set the way that it is. I think that's all to explain. All that to be saying, this could be rendered null and void eventually, who knows? Maybe in the DLC they add a new Pokemon, I fall in love with it, it becomes my favorite Galar Pokemon. If that happens, if there's a chance, maybe we come back and revisit this once all of the Pokemon are in. But for now, this will have to do. This is our, as it stands right now, it'll be my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. Anyway, let's get started. Starting in the top left, we're getting into Galarian forms right off the bat. Yo, we did something in the last video. So typically these videos are very long. And don't get me wrong, the last video was long too, but we did something towards the end that I wish I would have started doing at the beginning, which is rather than repeat myself 80 times about the same Pokemon over and over as we get closer to the middle, what I'm actually going to do is on our first time around, where we're going down the left side and we're going down the right side, for that first time around, I'll try to dump out as much of my feelings on the Pokemon as possible, so you know where I stand. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Why do I like it? I'm gonna dump out my feelings if at all possible. From that point forward, I'm gonna assume that you guys listened that first time and you understand where my feelings are. And I'm purely, from that point on, as we get to the middle, it's gonna be more of a gut-based reaction than anything. I think it's gonna help us save a lot of time that I am instead wasting by talking at the beginning. Okay, let's get into it. With Galarian forms. Let's talk about Galarian forms. We just did the Alola region yesterday. I like Alolan forms quite a bit. I said it brought some nice changes to a lot of only Gen 1 Pokemon in the Alola region, but it brought some cool changes to Pokemon that I think needed them, such as Saiyan-Shrew and Saiyan-Slash. It also did some that maybe didn't need to happen, like Diglett and Dugtrio. And it also only did Gen 1 Pokemon, which kind of upset me. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Gen 1 Galarian forms as well. We got we got Meowth and Ponyta and there was another one down here too. I forgot who it was already. I'm sorry. Who are you? I literally saw you. Farfetch'd, of course. You got some Galarian forms for Gen 1 Pokemon, but there's also some non-Gen 1 Pokemon, and that's nice to see. I kind of do wish they would have kept the idea of forms, because forms were such a big thing in the Alola region. I kind of wish they would have kept that concept exclusive to the Alola region to really make it stand out. To be honest, Galarian forms kind of came in and stole your girl, to be 100% honest with you. Came in, did the thing you were doing. You were playing in your middle school talent show, and you were playing Smoke on the Water on the bass, and then your classmate over there comes out and he's playing Fade to Black by Metallica, and you're like, what the heck? I was playing guitar. I've been stolen. They kind of did the same thing. They were like, oh, different forms? What if we made cooler ones? All that to being said, I like the Galarian forms. I think they're pretty solid. And I like that they also added new evolutions based on the Galarian forms, such as we have Galarian Meowth here, but instead of evolving to Galarian Persian, like the Alolan variant evolves from Alolan Meowth to Alolan Persian, you get a whole new Pokemon here in Berserker. And I like that aspect of it. It adds a little bit. Also, it doesn't have the horrible watermelon head of Alolan Persian, which I hate. Where's this love for Meowth come from, by the way? I know he talked in the anime, but my man's got, in this game, he gets a Galarian form, a Dynamax, or a Gigantamax form. He's got an Alolan form. Do we really? People complain about Charizard getting a little too much love. Can we talk about my man Meowth? All that being said, 10 minutes in before the first decision, by the way, I apologize. I'm giving it to Berserker here. Look, I'm growing my beard out for the entirety of quarantine. It may look like Berserker afterwards, but I personally don't like Meowth that much as a Pokemon. I don't like Persian that much as a Pokemon. This is a Pokemon I can get down with. Razor sharp claws, Viking beard, Viking helm. I think this is a cool Pokemon. The only thing that ruined him a little bit is when you see him from the back and you realize he still has this tiny, skinny body of Meowth. But other than that, I thought his whole body was just fur. Other than that, it's a good Pokemon. We have a Double versus... I'm gonna have some issues with the fossils. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I believe this is Dracozolt because it's the dragon back and the electric front. The fossils in this game are interesting. Obviously, it's the first time they ever tried this fancy Pokemon fusion thing where you have 4 different kinds of fossils and you can make 4 different combinations. Instead of just introducing, here's a dinosaur-looking Pokemon, here's a dinosaur-looking Pokemon, they went all out, and I gotta give them credit. And it's even apparently based, because the Galar region is, of course, based on the United Kingdom, it's apparently based on some scientists in the United Kingdom who way back in the day couldn't figure out how to put some dinosaur bones together, so they just made it look like what they thought maybe it would look like, and it turns out they were totally wrong. They made some messed up dinosaurs that didn't look like they actually looked like. It's exactly what they tried to do here, and they did it very well. This does not look right. They just mashed some stuff together and were like, we'll call it that. All that to be said, I love the lore. The lore on it's funny, it's great. I see what you did there. It's an interesting concept, but the Pokemon are abominations. I mean, they're absolute, I hate to say it, they are absolute abominations. There's maybe one of the 4 that I think looks like an actual Pokemon, and the rest, it looks like you melted down your toys, and this is what came. You put 10 toys in a boiling hot furnace, melted them down, and this is what came out. Just a bunch of colors and shapes and spikes, and it's too much. It's too much. For that alone, I'm sorry, I don't like the fossils very much. I'm gonna give it to Dubwool, who I also, I mean, it's the Route 1. Wooloo, fantastic. Remember, if there's a pre-evolution, we will be factoring that in as well. Wooloo's fantastic. Wooloo is extremely cute. Dubwool looks like a soccer ball or a football, depending on where you're watching from, my boy Yeti. Which is cool. I get why they did it. Very strong into the UK references there, and he rolls around all over the place. He's fine. Yo, Toxtricity? The Toxtricity of our city. Toxtricity's fantastic. Toxtricity's a great Pokemon, and I'm glad I don't have to yeet him this early. Instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick which of the 2 forms we like the most. Amped up form or laid back form, I think it's called. This one's a little bit of a personal bias because we, of course, used Toxel in our playthrough when I first played through this game, and the form that I got, based on its nature, was the amped up form. I have more personal connection with this amped up form in my 2 months of playing Pokemon Sword and Shield than I do with the low key, I think it's called low key actually, than I do with the low key form, because I've never used it. I've only used the purple and yellow. Purple and yellow also a little bit of a cleaner color combo in my opinion than the purple and blue. Galarian Yamask, Poltegeist, 2 ghost types going head to head. Like I said, very happy that they didn't just give Gen 1 Pokemon Galarian forms. We get a Gen 5 Pokemon Galarian form, and a Gen 5 Pokemon I like quite a bit. Love Yamask, love Cofagrigus. Was happy to see him get a Galarian form, even if Runerigus is a little strange in my personal opinion. We'll see. I see him over there. We'll see how he does against Dragapult, but we'll see how he does. I gotta give it to Poltegeist, to be honest. I just think it's a cuter design. Again, there's a lot of very on-the-nose United Kingdom designs here. They love their tea over there, or so I've heard. I've never been. So they made a ghost-type Pokemon that's literally just a T. This thing does feel like it should be more in a Luigi's Mansion game than a Pokemon game, but I'm fine with it for now. Galarian Slowpoke and Galarian Darumaka, another Gen 5 Pokemon. I love that I have to give it to my boy Galarian Darumaka. Darumaka, yeah. I love Darumaka like an extreme amount. I love Darmanitan as well. I see he's coming up, so I'll save some words for him. You guys know, of course, we found a shiny Darumaka in one of my first playthroughs ever on YouTube, so I have a close connection with it. It punches everything that it wants to, and they gave it the Ice type, which is kind of an underutilized, underappreciated type. I appreciate that. Galarian Slowpoke, At this point, he just has a yellow forehead. He just looks a little bit like Homer Simpson, is starting to take over his entire body. But we know that in the DLC, we're going to get a Galarian Slowbro and a Galarian Slowking, or 2 new evolutions completely if it follows the path of like Berserker. So we may get 2 new evolutions completely. So this is one that may change. Right now, I'm going to put Darumaka ahead just because I don't know what Galarian Slowpoke is going to evolve into. Going into Darmanitan, brother. So we've got the Zen mode and the non-Zen mode, of course. So you've got the basic form here, the one you're going to see 97% of the time, because this bad boy you could only get with a hidden ability, Ice Fire type. It's such a good combination. Well, I don't know that it's competitively good, but such a cool combination, one I never thought they were going to do. I'm glad they found a way to do it, and I'm glad it's my boy Darumaka that was able to make it happen. Obviously, he turns into a snowman, but the snowman head breathes fire. I really like this thing. My only issue with it, is that I never got to use it because I don't have the hidden ability one. So when I use Darmanitan in one of my playthroughs, the only Darmanitan I've ever used is the original. I would love to use this one. I think I'd have a very good time with it, and if I did use it, I'd probably prefer it. But based purely off personal opinion, my own experiences, I gotta give it to regular Darmanitan here, and I'm sorry. Ooh, Barracuda. Okay, other bad singing attempts aside, it's a great song, by the way. But other than that, this is a fearsome fish. It's the double Fs. It's a very fearsome fish. Evolves from the little torpedo boy whose name I forget, I'm sorry. Your name's Barracuda, right? I can't remember your pre-evolution. I actually like this thing quite a bit. I know a lot of people do not like this fish design. I actually kind of like it quite a bit. Maybe I've been playing too much Animal Crossing, but I got fishing on the mind, and so this thing really appeals to me right now. If I pulled one of these bad boys up in Animal Crossing, it's going straight in the museum. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. Alchemy is fine. Now here's the question, is should I be factoring in, I don't know if this is the first one where I could be, should I be factoring in Gigantamax forms? Because obviously Alchemy does get a Gigantamax form. It turns into a giant tower of cake, which my inner sweet tooth, well, it's not just an inner sweet tooth, it's an outer sweet tooth. I eat anything, it's sweet. I really want to give you some points for that, but you guys know I don't love the fairy type, and the same is true here. The different types of Alchemy, the different flavors is cool. Not enough for me to put it above Barracuda, so I have to. The question is though, am I going to factor in Gigantamax forms? Obviously any Pokemon can Dynamax, but Gigantamax is something completely different. Well, the thing is, when we reached Gen 6, I couldn't consider Megas because no Gen 6 Pokemon got Megas. I don't know how I want to handle this. I think I'm not going to factor in Gigantamax forms. Maybe in a future video, if we want to do more, we could maybe take a look at all Gigantamax forms, and maybe I could tell you my favorite Gigantamax form. But let's look at just the base Pokemon themselves. Rule established. If it's easy, don't spend a lot of time on it. I'm sorry, indeedy. I like Toidles. I've said it in Gen 2, I've said it in Gen 3, I've said it in Gen 4. Like every generation that has a turtle Pokemon, there's many of them. Oh wait, Gen 2 didn't have a turtle Pokemon, did it? Gen 1, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. Did Gen 6 have a turtle Pokemon? It had to have, right? Gen 7 did and Gen 8 did. I'm sure Gen 6 had a turtle Pokemon, I just can't think of it. And Gen 8, of course, we get another turtle Pokemon with Dreadnought. Choodle, one of my favorite Pokemon in the generation. His head's so big. He bite. He's adorable. And he turns into just a beastly creature here. Like Blastoise incarnate, essentially. Sans the water cannons. Oh god, I said the word Sans, and I've been playing Undertale, the genocide route, and I have to try to beat him this upcoming Saturday, and I'm not excited for it. So let's like remove that word from my vocabulary. Anyway, Dreadnought's a great Pokemon. Indeed, he's fine. It's like the Chansey of this generation, or the Blissey, or the Audino, or whatever you want to call it. I forget about it completely. Brother. Okay, this is simultaneously easy and hard at the same time, which was how most people describe me in college. I don't know. A poor joke could be made there. I will decide not to do it. It's Flapple by about 1 million because I love Flapple so much. First Pokemon I decided to shiny hunt in this generation. Of course, you were there. You saw us find our shiny Applin. I fell in love with that Pokemon the second I saw it. A grass dragon type that actually makes sense. Not a Alolan Exeggutor with the longest neck in the world. It's an actual dragon. And Appletun looks even more like a dragon, but Flapple is amazing. The thing is, I actually really like Orbeetle too. Blipbug and Dollar are amazing, and I know a lot of people are like, Orbeetle, get out of here, buddy. I like that he's an alien. He reminds me of the Ultra Beast, but like done well. He toes the line between actual Pokemon and Ultra Beast. I like him a lot. I'm sad he's not gonna make it farther than this, but I gotta go Flapple. Corviknight and Duraludon. Duraludon, Dragonsteel, amazing type combination. Two of my favorite types, without a doubt. I'll be honest though, I don't like the design very much. I don't really know what they were going for here. He turns into a literal skyscraper in the Gigantamax form. Again, we're not factoring in Gigantamax forms, but even when he's little, I can only see a small skyscraper in like a little kid's play place, like a McDonald's or something. I don't really know what you do, and I don't really know what you're trying to do. This is just a fearsome flying steel bird. Primary flying type, gotta give him credit for that. Not many of those exist. They actually gave Rookie D a primary flying type. I gotta give him pure flying type. Is it pure flying? Don't remember. But huge credit to that. And also, I mean, it's just, the whole line is fantastic. It's probably in my top 3 early bird Pokemon that you can get. Obviously, I told you guys last episode, Toucannon's my favorite, probably. This is top 3. Ooh, this is a toughie. I used both of these Pokemon in our first ever run of the game. Little Hatrina or whatever, Hatrim? What's the first evolution? This is Hatterene, and then there's Hatrim, but what's the first one? I can't remember, but it looks like a tiny little birthday hat. The whole line is very cute. It's almost like the Gardevoir of this generation, even though if you've ever seen like the actual body of Hatterene is like this tiny little alien inside, and it's just its hat. It's just wearing a big old hat. I almost like that more. I'm not a hat boy myself. I wear it if I'm having a horrible hair day, which as this mound of hair continues to grow over quarantine, you may see more and more hats coming. I also use this one is really, really tough for me. These are two fantastic additions to Gen 7, or to Gen 8, sorry. It's crazy that I'm almost having to go based purely off of gut reaction here this early in the first round, but I'm going gut reaction, and I'm gonna say it's actually Copperajah. I don't know if it's just because I like elephants such a ridiculous amount, but Cufant, and the second you see him, he's like the first Pokemon that greets you into the Galar region, even though the, spoiler alert, even though the evil trainer does use one of these, and the good people use one of these, I still got a lot of personal connection to Copperajah, so I'm gonna give it to him. It's my boy Appletun, and it's not particularly close. Who do I like better between Flapple and Appletun? Well, we'll get to that if we ever get to that. It's possible they may meet up. It's 100% possible. Morpeko, you got the two different forms, that's cool, but at the end of the day, you're just a Pikachu clone. And there are very few Pikachu clones that I think are done well. You're done decently. You look like a weird sedimentary rock or a 3-layer cake or something. I must just be hungry. But this man's a literal apple pie. We want to talk about which one's gonna make me hungrier. It's this literal apple pie right here. Eldegoss. I love the name Eldegoss. I wish it was attached to a cooler Pokemon. No offense to the dandelions, Make-A-Wish. You get all the seeds to fly away, your wish comes true. I'll tell you what, you know what I'd like to do? I would like to grab a dandelion and say, I wish Sobble evolved into something cool. Oh, look. It's Inteleon. One of the greatest disappointments of my entire life. My boy Sobble, absolutely adorable. I still love him to this day. I actually don't hate the middle evolution too much, Drizzile. I think he's fine. Little angsty, and I don't know where the color green and purple came from. Should have stuck with the blue and yellow color palette, in my personal opinion. He throws water balloons at people, and I like that. I like the theming. He's a little trickster. He throws the water balloons. I will say about Inteleon and about this Pokemon. Is it my favorite Gen 8 starter? When you factor in the entire line, probably not, and I'm sorry. It's probably no longer my favorite. It was for the longest time. I stayed on Team Sobble for as long as possible. It's just not anymore, and that's unfortunate. However, the spy theming is done really cool. I wish he wasn't so sassy. I wish he wasn't so dang strike a pose sassy. It's like, if you were gonna make him, he could be a secret agent spy with a freaking, he got a gun. The man's got a gun made of water. You could have made him that without him also looking like he's about to strut his stuff on the runway. Like he could just be a cool secret agent. I like the bubble gun quite a bit. Like some of the art of him is really good. And it's better than Eldegoss. So what I'm saying is, I put Inteleon to the next round and then I'm just saying mean things about it. But you gotta remember, deep down Sobble's in there somewhere. We gotta give Sobble some credit here. Sobble's gonna beat Eldegoss any day of the week. We have Sandaconda, and we have Dracovish. No, you're not Dracovish. Arctovish. Your name is Arctovish because you're the ice thing. This is the only evolution. This is the only fossil Pokemon that I think actually looks like a real Pokemon, even though its head is literally on upside down, which is super duper messed up. It's the only one that looks like an actual Pokemon to me. I still generally dislike the fossils in this game, so I'm sorry it's not going to happen. I'm going to give it to Sandaconda instead. Actually, I think an underrated Pokemon. I usually don't like snake Pokemon. This one does something for me for whatever reason. He shoots the sand straight out of his nostrils. Again, I'm trying not to factor in the Gigantamax form, but he's got a really nice Gigantamax form, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to put him through because he's going up against a fossil. Galarian Farfetch'd versus Galarian Sirfetch'd. First of all, let me just say I'm so happy they did something for my boy Farfetch'd. He needed something. Outshined for years of Gen 1 flying types. Outshined by Pidgeot. Outshined by Fearow. Outshined by Dodrio. Aerodactyl. Name a Gen 1 flying type, you're probably more likely to pick that than you would ever any of the legendary birds. You would probably go for one of them over a Farfetch'd any day of the week, but they finally made up for it. Now, I'm gonna pick Sirfetch'd. You guys know my one bone I have, and this is with all of Gen 8. Some of the typings they chose for some of the Pokemon perplex me. I have no idea why this bird, who learns how to sword fight, loses the flying type. I think he should 100% be a flying fighting type. I really don't know why he loses the flying type. It hurts me to this day, but I have to live with it. I still love him. The man, you ever seen the full image of him when he sheaths the sword inside the full leak and he is sleeping on it? Adorable. Stunfisk, Cramorant. Okay, Stunfisk is a Gen 5 Pokemon that needed something, but this was not necessarily it. Turning it into a bear trap, I'm sorry, it doesn't do anything for me. My derpy friend Cramorant here, though, I gotta give some serious props to. You're moving on to the next round, buddy. All right, that was the left side, and that was very long. I apologize. Galarian Ponyta versus Galarian Rapidash. Look, 99% of the time, I'm just gonna default to the evolution because I typically like the evolutions better. Not in this case. I actually think Galarian Ponyta looks a little bit cuter. Galarian Rapidash takes the cotton candy a little bit too far, in my personal opinion. This is after eating one bag of cotton candy, what your brain is doing. This is what your brain's doing after 19 bags of cotton candy, and your dentist is being flown in from across the country to save your teeth. I'm gonna give it to Ponyta. Okay, Thievul. Every generation's got to have a two-stage dark type for some reason. You got your Purloins and your... That's the only one I can think of, but there's other ones. Poochyenas and Mightyyenas. Every generation pretty much has to have them for whatever reason. I'm going with Cinderace, who, upon seeing all possible evolutions, at the end of the day, actually did end up being my favorite of the starters. I've gotten away from the fire type starters over my last couple of years for sure. I had to come back for Cinderace. His not Z move, what would you call it? His signature move? When he kicks the freaking soccer ball, it's a clean move. That's a clean, very, very good looking move. I guess you would call it a signature move. And I like that his mid-level evolution has jacket pockets. He's like wearing a hoodie and he's got pockets. And to be fair, even though Scorbunny was my least favorite of the original starters, he's still pretty cute in and of himself. This is Graplocked? I believe your name is Graplocked. There's two. There's Octoclobopus and I don't remember. You're one of the two fighting type octopus Pokemon that should be water fighting. Why are you not water fighting? You're literally octopuses, and when you first get attacked by this thing, he's swimming through the water. I don't know why he's not water type. It bugs me. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to either Zacian or Zamazenta. I'm sorry, I don't 100% remember. It's Sword Boy. It's Sif from Dark Souls. I love him quite a bit. I did play Pokemon Sword first, so more connection to Zacian. This is Zacian, not Zamazenta. I got more connection to Zacian. And the typing is busted. You ever gone up against one of these things competitive? I hope not. You're dead. We got Arctozolt. Arctozolt, the ice electric. Okay, it's Grimmsnarl. It's Grimmsnarl by about 20 million. It's an abomination. Again, it's melted crayons put together as a Pokemon, and I know that's the concept they were going for. I'm not harping on them for the concept. It just doesn't work for me personally. Grimmsnarl works for me. Dark Fairy type, extremely cool combination. The middle evolution, I love Impidimp. Middle evolution loses me a little bit. He's a little too angsty for me personally. It's like, when looking at my levels of angst, My Chemical Romance sure will fit in there, but like the death metal screamo, that's where I'm gonna stop there. His Morgrem or whatever your middle evolution, that's the death metal screamo I'm gonna leave behind. But then he comes back to My Chemical Romance levels of angst, and I like Grimmsnarl a lot. To be honest, didn't play through, I played through Pokemon Shield one time. I did not use a Galarian Corsola. It's cool that they finally did something with Corsola, because it was kind of not great in the first one. I'm gonna give it to Cursola, which is the evolution here. For no real reason in particular, it's the evolution. I've honestly never used this Pokemon, so I'm not coming from much of a place of, what do you call it? There's a word for it. Experience, that's it. I was talking earlier about how much I was happy they gave Yamask and a Galarian form and an evolution in Runerigus, but you put him up against my boy Dragonbolt, who's the pseudo of the generation. You don't just always go for the pseudo, but he's like extremely lizardy, and he shoots these tiny, like of all the dragons, he feels like the most lizard-esque with his tail. Ghost Dragon type, such a cool type combination, cries in Giratina, and he shoots his pre-evolutions out as tiny missiles. What else do you need, to be honest? Next we have Galarian Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadang Ding Dang Ding Dong Dimmadome, Dimmadang Dong Dimmadome, versus Scorch. Look, Galarian Wheezing, I'm all for the memes. I see they try to do it with Alolan Executor. It worked. They got memes. I'm sure they try to do the exact same thing here. It's too memey for me. It's not a good looking Pokemon, if I'm being 100% honest. Confused why it's the fairy type. That makes little to no sense to me. Scorch is exactly what it looks like. It's a bug fire type. It is a large fiery scorpion. He's not a scorpion, he's a centipede, you dummy. You caught a centipede in Animal Crossing. What are you doing? He's a fiery centipede. He's exactly what you signed up for at the beginning of the day. No false advertising, clean design, few colors, everything fits. It's a great Pokemon. It's a fantastic Pokemon. This is not a fantastic Pokemon. Stungener is not a good Pokemon, and I have almost no trouble saying that. Eternatus is fine. It feels more like an Ultra Beast than a Pokemon, so I don't particularly like it, but I like it more than this pile of rubble. I like both of these Pokemon so much. I'm gonna get on Gen. It's the fighting type. They really goofed on the fighting type. This thing looks like a bug. I know it's 5 little guys and they're the fighting type, but this thing, if you saw this, it looks so much more like a caterpillar at first glance than anything else. We're talking about Phalanx, of course, versus Ice Cube. It looks so much like a bug type. Not a bug type, it's fighting type. Why not just mash those together and get a very cool bug fighting type? Has that been done before? Is there a bug fighting type out there? I'm sure there is that I'm forgetting about, and I apologize. Heracross, my boy. Literally just found a shiny one the other day. Massive dummy me. Okay, so it's been done before, but it's still an amazing type. It's a really cool type. I don't know why you're not bug fighting. Nonetheless, I have to give it to you. I gotta give it to my boy Phalanx. Again, I have less experience in Pokemon Shield. I like Ice Cube. I wish he would keep the Ice Cube on at all times. I don't love his face underneath as much. The design loses me a little bit there. Watching these boys march in place, really solid in the heart. I could give or take both of these Pokemon. I'm a doggo boy, so I'm gonna have to go doggo here and give it to Zamazenta, my shield-wearing boy. Pincurchin? I don't know what you are. I mean, I know what you are. You got like a yellow butt on your mouth and it kind of makes me uncomfortable. I don't really like and or respect this Pokemon. Oh, Livid, you're a meanie. Livid's a meanie. He's gonna make me choose between the greatest of all time Snom. I tried to rally the troops and get people to vote Snom for Pokemon of the Year, by the way. Of the year, I wanted this to be. Does that mean it's my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon? Look, if we put the memes aside, probably not. I'm actually gonna go with Frostmoth here instead. I have a conspiracy theory that you cannot, unless the head of Game Freak kicks in my door and says that's not what happened. I'm 100% sure this was originally going to be Galarian Larvesta and Galarian Volcarona. You can't tell me it's not. Even the evolution, like you've got this ice bug, tiny, can't really hit anything, does like 0 damage, stats really bad. It takes a million years to evolve it. And when you do, you get met with this majestic bug, large moth. It's literally just Volcarona, but instead of a fire type, it's an ice type. And you guys know how much I love Volcarona. It made it very far in the Gen 5 tier list. My boy, I can tell you my boy Frostmoth is going to make it very far as well, because I think it's such a simple and clean design. The like semi-transparent wings look so good. They almost like inherit and reflect whatever color background you're sitting. Oh, it's a great Pokemon. Every time I send it out, I'm like, it just embodies majesty. You know what else embodies majesty? Not this strange 1920s rubber hose cartoon character. Looks like straight out of Cuphead. I'm sorry, Squovet. Or Greedent. What's your evolution? I don't know. And I feel bad because we did find, you're Greedent. We did find a shiny Squovet in our playthrough, which eventually became a full odds, by the way. Which did, no, not trying to humble brag, which did end up being a shiny Greedent. It's not enough for me to, I love dogs. You guys know I love dogs. I gotta give it to my boy Boltund here. Purely for that alone. Yo, both of these Pokemon, to be 100% honest, can go just get sent to the Shadow Realm, in my personal opinion. I don't like Mr. Mime. It's cool they tried to make him less horrible, put a tie on him. I gotta give it to regular Mr. Mime, actually. Mr. Rhyme is even more horrifying. Reminds me of that puppet boss in Hetty that splits in half, and then you got... I dislike you, something fierce. At least Mr. Mime's wearing a tie, he's trying. We got Carcole, who's actually colossal, sorry, up against Rillaboom. Rillaboom is so close to being a good design. I think Grookey's a really good design. I think Thwacky's a really good design. I think Rillaboom is really close to being a good design. If you take away the drum, I don't like when Pokemon use objects. It doesn't make sense to me, personally. Did he carve that in between evolving from Thwacky to Rillaboom? He's like, well, I got a little time here, let me just whittle a drum. That doesn't make sense to me. And his hair. His hair is a little bit too wild. If you cut back the leafy mane and made him just a big, beefy gorilla, I think I would like that Pokemon a lot more. It's my least favorite of the starters, and I'm sorry. I gotta give it to Colossal here. Even though I was also semi-disappointed with Colossal's final evolution, Roly-Coly is one of my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. Carcole is fine. He looks more like a Banjo-Kazooie character, but I'm fine with it. But I really thought they were leading up to a train Pokemon, and I'm shocked they didn't end up leading to a train Pokemon. You got like a wheel and then a cart. I was sure they were gonna go for the full train, but instead they went with a furnace instead, which is, it's still fine. It kind of just looks like Rhydon with a pile of coal stacked on his head, but Rhydon's a great Pokemon. We have Obstagoon versus Dracovish. I know this is like objectively the best of the fossils, at least based on competitive. It still looks like melted crayons. I'm gonna tell you that right off the bat. But I am actually gonna let it advance to the next round. And I'm advancing it, advance to the next round because, well, A, I don't really respect Zigzagoon or Linoon or its final evolution Obstagoon. And also, if you were there, you know, I saw an unfortunate, just one of the worst things I've ever seen when trying to look about information of the newly revealed Pokemon. I saw some horrible fan art of this Pokemon right here doing unspeakable things to a Wooloo. And it's like burned, the image is burned into my brain forever, and I will never be able to unsee it, and I will never use one of these Pokemon because of it. And it's not even the Pokemon's fault. The Pokemon's fine. It's the people on Twitter that draw large male genitalia on it that really set it apart for me. Okay, and as I said, I don't really respect either of these. I'm gonna go with the youngest version here because even the tongue here, it freaks me out by proxy. Okay. That took a long time, but here is where things get a little bit quicker. I've blabbed for 40 minutes first time through about how I feel about most of these Pokemon. That should be readily apparent. So now, it's gonna be a little bit more rapid fire. We're gonna go one at a time. I'm gonna look at the two, I'm gonna tell you this is easy. I'm giving it to Berserker, he's a Viking. I'm gonna look at these two, I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry, it's Toxtricity, he's extremely cool. I'm gonna look at these, I'm gonna tell you, sorry my son, you basically evolve into this, so I kind of feel like why not just go with the evolve form. I'm gonna look at these two and say, I know I can't catch this in Animal Crossing, I'm still gonna go with Dreadnought anyway, I think it's a better design. This one's extremely tough. Some of them I may take a little bit longer on, a couple seconds just to ponder. Double check with my gut. These are all gut reactions, by the way. Are you really sure about that? 100%? You sure you're not just hungry for an apple right now? No, we're not just hungry for apples. Flapple's just a really, really good Pokemon. Now, are we gonna get the Flapple-Appleton matchup so that you can know who is better? No, we're not, unfortunately, because Caparajah is going to win. I will tell you nonetheless, I do like Flapple better than Appleton, so Flapple would have beat Appleton. Flapple might not beat Caparajah. Caparajah is an extremely good Pokemon. I'm happy to send it on to the next round. My skinny boy, I'm gonna have to still send you on nonetheless. Your design made me sad, but I will be sending you on nonetheless. Let me know, by the way. I know this is the very end of the series, and maybe I should have done this the whole time, but if we ever do more like this, I'm gonna do the rest of this rapid fire. We may finish this up in like the next 5 minutes. I'm gonna go rapid fire. And you tell me, please let me know. Yo, it's my boy Not So Livid, take a look. You let me know. Do you prefer me going rapid fire like this through? Or do you like, I like talking, obviously. It's very therapeutic for me. So I like going into some of my deeper thoughts and personal connections with a lot of these Pokemon, but you may not. You may be like, brother, I just want to know what your favorite Pokemon is. I could care less about how cool it was that you used this Pokemon in your first ever playthrough, big nerd. If you prefer this rapid fire, let me know. Maybe I'll consider doing more rapid fire stuff in the future. Anyway, still think you should be flying type. I really think you should be flying type. Now that's a flying type right there. Still gonna give it the Surf Edged. Top right, sorry Galarian Ponyta, can you play soccer? I mean, you might be able to, but my guess would be no. You can't compare to this anime boy right here. Speaking of anime boys, giving it to Grimmsnarl. I'm sorry, Sif, I did defeat you in Dark Souls. It felt really good to do so. Took me a long time, not proud to admit that. I had to do a little bit of soul grinding, but we got it done. And Grimmsnarl, you almost look like a Dark Souls boss in and of yourself, too. I gotta give you credit there. Cursula, you barely made it through the first round. It's Dragapult. Eternatus, you barely made it through the first round. It's sent to Scorch. Zamazenta, you barely made it through the first round. It's Phalanx. That's a toughie. That's a toughie, that's a toughie, that's a toughie. I feel like this, just looking at the Pokemon that have made it so far, this is going to be a very biased list because it's turning into Like already, like 50% are just Pokemon I used in my playthrough. I used the Caparaja, I used Inteleon, I used Flapple, I used Toxtricity, and guess what? I used Frostmoth, and I don't regret it at all. It's a great Pokemon. That's a horrible Pokemon. Get out of here. These are both bad Pokemon. I'll give it to Dracovish because horrible things associated here, of course. All right, back to the top left. This is tough. This is where it starts getting a little tougher. I may have to hone in on the senses ever so slightly. We're going with a gut reaction here, but you also, if you're walking near a bridge and your gut is like, jump off. Sometimes you gotta be like, are you sure about that, gut? Think about it. And then you realize, you hear behind you that there's an assassin driving at 150 miles an hour at you, and your gut was trying to save your life by having you jump into the blue lagoon below. Don't jump off a bridge, please, by the way. It's not the moral of the story. What I'm saying is sometimes your gut is right all along, but you do want to check just to be safe. I think my gut was right all along here, and the answer is Toxtricity. Poison Electric is an extremely cool type combination. I'm glad it finally existed. My man, okay, I'm gonna pretend the chest guitar doesn't exist, because watching the weird tumors on his chest flap back and forth is a little uncomfortable for me. I actually think this might be a better designed Pokemon. I like this Pokemon better. That's a tough. You see, I'm trying not to wrap my girl Nessa into, aka Best Girl. I'm trying not to wrap my girl Nessa into the Dreadnought as well, even though it's her ace. But I gotta admit, there's a little bit of connection there. Just seeing this Pokemon, instantly think about that, instantly positive feelings. Is it deserved? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. I'm gonna, gut? Trust the gut? Are we going with the gut here, or is something else deciding this one for us, boys? No, I think it is the gut. I am going to give it to Dreadnought here. I do think Dreadnought it's just a really well-designed Pokemon. And these are both two very well-designed Pokemon. There's something so dang charming about Flapple. Like, this is just a big, beastly iron elephant. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be with what it is. There's it's something like, not derpy. I don't want to, okay, like a little derpy. His eyes are like little scrambled eggs in a way. He's literally just, he evolved and he just outside the apple, and he uses it to fly now. There's something derpy but lovable about Flapple. Reminds me of Petrie from Land Before Time. I like him quite a bit. All right, Skinny Boy, you made it. No, please don't do that. Skinny Boy, you made it a little bit too far. I'm giving it to my man who has a literal sword stabbed in the heart, and you're to blame. You could have been so much better. You made Sabo lame. Okay, we almost had a song go in there. I messed it up. Cinderace Grimmsnarl. I think I'm yeeting the starter. I'm sorry. All three starters are gone. Rillaboom out, Inteleon out, Cinderace now also out. Cinderace probably is a top 8 Gen 8 Pokemon for me. It just is it's an unfortunate matchup because Grimmsnarl is really cool. This is another extremely unfortunate matchup. I think Dragapult could probably be a top 8 as well, but he's going up against my boy Scorch, who I really like. This is like my quintessential Pokemon design to some degree. Like, it just does what it does really well. It's not over-designed. They didn't try too much with it. As much as I love, like, Galarian Darmanitan, the Snowman thing's a little on the nose. This is literally just a fiery Scorpion. It's a fire bug type. It does it well. I mean, I could say the exact same thing about Frostmoth. Frostmoth and Scorch is almost like the exact same argument, but on like the yin and yang, the ice type versus the fire type, the exact opposites. They are bugs with an element associated with them, and they do that very well. Powerful fire type, majestic ice type. Love them both. It's colossal and it's not particularly close. Look, you got seeded very well. Congratulations. Now they only say congratulations. I actually think I like Berserker better than Dreadnought, so I'm actually going to have to give this one to Toxtricity. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the Elite 8. We'll be in the Final 4 after this. Don't worry, it won't take long. 2 more Pokemon. By the way, we did literally essentially end up use Toxtricity in my playthrough. Wish I would have used Dreadnought instead of Inteleon. Used Flapple in the playthrough. Used Surfetch in the playthrough. Used a Grimmsnarl in the playthrough. No, we didn't. We used Hatterene. Used Did we use Scorch in the playthrough? Maybe for a small period of time we used Scorch. Definitely use Frostmoth at the end. I actually don't think we used you. You probably shouldn't be here. I hate to say it, Colossal, you probably shouldn't be here right now. Okay, Toxtricity goes on to the next round. Full 100% honesty here. If Surfetched was a flying fighting type, I think it would beat Flapple. That type combination making sense, plus the design, plus what I like about this Pokemon, I think it probably would beat Flapple. The whole point, you had Farfetch'd who was a flying type, but he was never a viable flying type. You had the chance to make him a viable flying type. Slap on the fighting type to the flying type. Give him some new fighting type moves and let him crush. Just let him crush, bopping everything left and right with his sword. But they took away the core of Farfetch'd. I don't get that. Flapple does what it does really well. I'm giving it to Flapple. I think the right side, I already outlined the yin yang for you. I think that's what it's coming down to. Look, you're out of your weight class, I'm sorry. Grimmsnarl is really, really solid. I just think Scorch is too good a Pokemon. And obviously down here is an easy decision. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the final 4. On the left side, we have Toxtricity and Flapple. On the right side, we have Scorch and Frostmoth. This is really tough. I think these probably are my top 4 favorite. This is a really accurate top final 4. These probably are my 4 favorite Pokemon in Gen 8, not including, like, not factoring in Gigantamax forms, although except for Frostmoth, they actually all have Gigantamax forms, so maybe that is getting factored in ever so slightly. I apologize. Okay, left side. Toxtricity Flapple. Toxtricity Flapple. You know, I lied. This is not an accurate top 4. I actually think I like Surfetch'd better than Toxtricity. If Surfetch'd was up here, it would be an accurate top 4, which means I have to give it to Flapple. I have to give it to Flapple because if Flapple beats Surfetch'd and Surfetch'd beats you, then by proxy Flapple beats you. Flapple on the left side. Over to the right side. I already outlined it. There's no need to... I mean, I outlined what it is. I didn't say who I liked better, and I honestly don't know. This is actually like... Usually a lot of these, even when I say I'm going in, I'm like, let me trust my gut. I kind of already know ahead of time. This one I actually have no idea, and I'm asking my gut. I'm getting left on red. My gut is giving me absolutely no information here. I'm getting absolutely no information from my gut here. Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh. This is tough. This is tough. I gotta give it to Frostmoth. I think I gotta give it to Frostmoth, because I'm looking at these, I'm comparing Scorch to Frostmoth, and I think they're literally equal. I think I love them both equally. The only potential difference is we got my boy Snom. We got my boy Snom, who is waiting in the wings, and even though you don't see him here when he is this beautiful Frostmoth, you know, Frostmoth, how does the saying go? Snom walked so Frostmoth could sprint, or something like that. That's what happened. Snom laid the foundation for this wonderful Pokemon to be here, and I gotta give it credit for that. Final 2, Flapple, the Grass Dragon type, versus Frostmoth, Ice Bug type. I think I just convinced myself. It's not even for the memes, I promise you. Although I actually I did want Snom to be voted Pokemon of the Year. I think there was actually, it wasn't just a meme. I think there was some legitness to that. I think Frostmoth is my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon, and that's actually surprising to me. Sometimes I'll be honest, by the way, there's my results. Do you agree, do you disagree? Let me know. Comments down below. You can fill out your own one of these, you can download it, etc. Sometimes, let me break the fourth wall a bit since this is the last one. I hope you enjoyed the series, by the way. It's been a lot of fun. Will we do more of these? I don't know. The reception's been really good, and I hope you guys have been having fun. I've been loving seeing your guys' brackets as well. That's typically a good sign to me that you're enjoying it. If you're, taking an hour for me, but 5 minutes out of your day to fill out one of these brackets and send it to me. To break the fourth wall, I came into a lot of these videos kind of knowing who my favorite Pokemon is. For example, Gen 1, I knew it was Arcanine. Gen 2, I knew it was Feraligatr. There were a couple in there that surprised me along the way. But for the most part, I came into a lot of the generations being like, I think I know at least who like my top 2 or 3 are, and I know they're going to make it really far. The best part about this series and some of the fun journey of it is seeing all these Pokemon that I didn't realize I had such an affinity for. Breloom in Gen 3. Breloom made it to Final Four, I think, and if I were to tell you like all my favorite Pokemon of all time, Breloom probably wouldn't even be in there, but maybe it is now because I just didn't think about how much I liked it. And this is a situation here. I came into this video so sure that Flapple was going to be my favorite because I've talked about Flapple so much and how much I love it, and I do. I mean, he's number 2. He's number 2 on the list. He's probably number 2 in the whole generation for me. Scorch 3, Surfetch'd 4, Toxtricity 5, maybe Dragapult 6, Grimmsnarl 7. Like, it's close. There's some good ones in there. I did this whole video thinking Flapple was going to come out on top, and he didn't. That blows my mind. That blows my mind that Flapple did not come out on top. But I learned something about myself today, and that's good. And that's, 1, it's 1:30 a.m., so it's time for bed. And 2, it's that Frostmoth is my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon. For now. Of course, we have, like I said, the DLCs coming out soon. The first one, I should say, and a second one coming later. Might those DLCs throw a wrench in all of this, completely shatter it? I doubt it. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, I doubt it. But if something crazy does happen, they release Galarian Arcanine and it changes my world forever. He's an ice electric type and he's beautiful, majestic doggo. Yeah, maybe it changes everything for me. We'll come back. But for now, that's the end of Pokemon March Madness. I hope you did enjoy it. Again, the whole point of the series, I hope you're staying safe during this crazy time we're living in right now. It's unfortunate not having sports and other forms of entertainment, concerts, even being able to go out to restaurants and hanging out with your friends or significant others or family members. It's been a shame right now. I hope I was able to, at least over the past couple weeks, fill that void ever so slightly. And maybe this won't be the end of the brackets. I have no idea. We don't necessarily, like, obviously the Pokemon is like was a big thing for me because it made a lot of sense to do. But there's like thousands of brackets out here that we could potentially do that don't even revolve around Pokemon. There's food ones, there's music ones, there's TV shows and movies and other things that people enjoy as well. That maybe would be fun to do. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I think if I was gonna do another one, maybe one of the first ones I would do would be like a pizza topping bracket. I feel like that's a pretty contentious debate. Where are my pineapple boys at? I feel like that's pretty contentious. Like something like that. If I do. I don't know if I'm going to. Maybe. I don't know. It is 1:35 a.m. though, so it is time for me to go to bed. You don't believe me? You don't believe me that it's 1:35 a.m.? Hold on. How do I show you? You don't believe me that it's 1:30? It's 1:35 a.m., ladies and gentlemen. And it's time for me to go to bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, the support on the series was awesome, and I do appreciate it quite a bit. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider showing support down below. Like, comment, subscribing, share with your grandmother as always. But with that, I'm gonna go catch some Z's, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, you'll be watching, well, for me, it's kind of tomorrow. You'll be watching this today. What's gonna come out on Wednesday? Probably nothing. Probably at least in the meantime. I hope you've enjoyed the extra content. It's not gonna, hopefully it's not gonna go away forever, but it might take me a little bit of time to figure out what I want to do next. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.